Now we want to turn our attention to Haiti, which is being swept by a wave of protest and a ongoing attempt to occupy the country yet again. And we are very, very honored to be joined for this conversation by Dr. Jemima Pierre, who's a professor of global race at the Institute of Race, Gender, Sexuality, and Social Justice at the University of British Columbia and a member of the Black Alliance for Peace. Jemima, thanks so much for being back with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, it almost feels like, when we were talking in 2020, here we have this president, prime minister, excuse me, who's just not elected by anyone, huge protests sweeping the country, all sorts of rumors, of armed uprisings, invasions. I mean, it just feels like Haiti is on the brink. I mean, does it feel like Henry will be, Dr. Ariel Henry, who's the prime minister, de facto prime minister, will be pushed out of power? What could come next? Those are big questions, I know, but maybe where we can start and take it where it goes.
Yeah, definitely. But you have to remember that Henri was not chosen by the people, was handpicked by the core group, which occupies Haiti right now. But before we get to that, I think it's more important to also talk about February 7th as an important date, which is why there's so many protests. 38 years ago in 1986, February 7th was when the Haitian people kicked out Duvalier after a 30-year dictatorship. And France sent the plane to get him, and sent him back, to France, where he lived out his life in wealth, in wealth and luxury. And so people remember that. And then soon after, the U.S. allowed, a military government to take over until we had the first democratically elected president in Jean-Bertrand Aristide with the Lavalas movement in 1990, right? And so that's what's happening. So people remember February 7th. They also remember February 7th because even though the U.S. imposed Ariel Henry on the folks, Ariel Henry himself signed a December 21st agreement that he would be only in power for 30 months and that he would step down February 7th, 2024. This is what you have right now. People are saying, the Haitian people, they can only take so much, as you know. And it's the protest that tells you that this is a powerful and resistant group of people because Henri, they let him play for these 30 months and then they're like now February 7th we need to leave. And so I want people to know, as these terrible images, I know the racist images that people get about Haiti and always are talking about Haiti's gang violence is about to fall apart. Just remember that Haiti is under occupation. It's been under occupation since 2004 when the US invaded and kicked out our president, and the UN condoned that invasion by occupying Haiti with the core group and a military force. And so that's the thing that we have to remember. So all of this has happened. The entire Haitian state has been dismantled under this occupation, which is why there's no president. There are hardly any senators. There's nothing because they created that situation. Then to come in and then say Haiti's problem is a gang problem, as opposed to a problem of imperialism and ongoing U.S. and UN control of the country.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, what is the situation now in terms of, before everybody was talking a lot about Kenya's going to intervene and Kenya's going to go to Haiti, and the US was trying to put this sort of like African face on intervention in Haiti. What's transpired since?
Well, one thing I think the people protesting, we have to give them credit to get the Kenyans on the ground protesting as well. So that then we had a Kenyan group that challenged the release of the police force to Haiti. So the Supreme Court of Kenya blocked it in the fall and then blocked it again in December, and said that they would give a final ruling in January, which they did. A couple of weeks ago, they gave a final ruling that it's against Kenya's constitution to send police to Haiti. And at the same time, Ruto, who's the comprador uh, for Europe and the U.S., is saying no matter what, he's going to send this police force because he's being paid. And just yesterday, or I think the day before, you had Kenyan official meeting with Jamaican officials in Japan on the sideline to talk about this military operation that Kenya is supposed to lead with help from Jamaica and Bahamas. Remember, just 2 days ago, the U.S. issued a travel warning against Jamaica and Bahamas because of they have violence. And so imagine this: these are the same people that are being sent to Haiti. So now they're challenging it in the court, but I have to say, what the court said that they needed to show the government in Haiti that that there's a bilateral agreement between the government of Haiti and the government of Kenya, but Haiti's government is not legitimate. So whatever agreement that is signed by an illegitimate government is null and void, and that's what people have to know. So whatever they do is going to be illegal no matter what.
There's so many dynamics here and so many shifting sands. One of the, I think, more interesting things, at least for those of us who've been following Haiti for some time, we've seen Mr. Philippe return as a, quote unquote revolutionary leader. This BSAP militia that has having gunfights now with the police in Port-au-Prince, but also sort of tied with him saying that they're going to launch this, quote unquote revolution. I wonder what you think about the political scene like this, because it really does seem we're seeing a lot of sort of older figures with a long history in Haiti reemerge, but at least attempting to have a very different sort of guise in terms of our current moment.
Yeah, people have to remember Guy Philippe was funded by the CIA. He admitted as much. Was trained in the Dominican Republic from 2000 to 2004 when they were launching attacks. His paramilitary group were launching attacks to destabilize the Aristide government, the legally and democratically elected president. And so people used to call him, the rebel, the resistance to Aristide. That's how the Western media portrayed him. But they used him as a ruse in order for the U.S. Marines to go in and physically remove Aristide from power. And then soon after that, of course, the U.S. turned on him and put him in prison for drug trafficking, of all things. And so he was in the U.S. prison. He was sentenced to 9 years in U.S. prison, and then they released him early. And everybody's shocked that they sent him back to Haiti. And so some people think he's turned a new leaf, that he's about to lead a revolution, and that remains to be seen. As far as I'm concerned, he's he should be tried for treason for the coup d'état that happened in 2004. And what's interesting as well is, like, people keep saying gangs. What's happening in Haiti is a bunch of paramilitary. The people who are armed are former Haitian military, former police. The guns are coming from the US and from the Dominican Republic, funded by the biggest paramilitary groups are right near the US embassy. What's fascinating is that this BSAP group, which was an environmental group that has been armed, they have all these new arms, these cars. You're wondering where the money's coming from, but the police will fight against them, but not the other groups that are terrorizing the neighborhoods in Haiti. So it's a terrible political situation, and I do think the point is to actually make the place look terrible, to say that there's nothing else we can do but send military to Haiti. Mind you, they're not offering anything else to Haiti. They're not trying to block, they're not doing the embargo that China and Russia suggested in the UN Security Council. And there's no arms embargo. They're not helping military aid. They're not trying to start schools. The only solution they always have for Haiti is a violent one. And that tells you everything you need to know about the racist aspect of US imperialism in the country.
We're in an election year, and I hate to make everything about the horse race, so I don't mean to do that here. But obviously, there's a Republican and a Democrat running against each other, as is always the case. Is there a difference between these two parties on Haiti? Has anything changed under Joe Biden? Since Donald Trump was president, and I'm being a
They
little
don't.
sneaky asking that question, but go ahead.
Yeah, I heard something the other day that, Democrats and Republicans are two cheeks of the same, you know, um, derriere, right? And when it comes to Haiti, that is so clear. I mean, look, the difference between Biden and Trump is that Biden has deported more Haitians than Trump could ever deport in his first, months in Haiti, in office, and that Biden has continued everything forward. Obama was deporter in chief. Trump did Title 42 in the U.S. Mexico border, remain in Mexico policies that Biden carried on. So Biden has actually been much more draconian in his policies towards Haiti, and I think part of it. But the good thing is, because U.S. empire is faltering, we have to read this way, because 10 years ago it would have been so easy to just send a few U.S. Marines and occupy Haiti. That's what they did, 2004. Now they're scared to send their military. They can't find anybody to do the dirty work. I mean, for him to go all the way to Kenya, remember, they tried to get Brazil, they tried to get Canada, they tried to get Mexico to lead this mission in Haiti. And it's been 2 years since they've tried to get a military force into Haiti, and they haven't been able to. So to me, the difference is the weakness of the Biden administration when it comes to foreign policy in general, not being able to have this go on. And I also want to talk about these pictures that you're showing, because the trash in the streets are people actually trying to block the police cars and the government cars that are terrorizing them. So neighborhoods have actually put up sandbags trying to block the paramilitary groups. They put the trash in the middle of the street to prevent cars from going through. So I hope people see that, because the images around Haiti are always so disturbing and painful for me to see, but I also want to contextualize them a bit.
No, I think that's critically important, and it's amazing the lack of context, or forget context, even mention of the popular resistance. I mean, even if they say there are protests, it's like there's just people randomly out in the streets or something like that. And it feels like that's another element of this that is actually important. I mean, from the protests to even people taking their own security into their own hands in certain circumstances and taking back their neighborhoods. There's a lot of self-organization happening on the ground in Haiti that I feel is a very important product of what's happening in the process right now.
Absolutely. And I think if you listen to Haitian radio, it's a lot of young people saying, there was a Bois movement, which was actually going after the gang, the paramilitary groups, neighborhoods coming together and, doing their own justice. And that's the only time you had Ariel Henry and the police stop the people from going after these paramilitary groups. So the only time they come out is to actually keep the people from protesting and taking care of their own. But the people realize that they can do their own thing. Look, my mom was in Haiti just last week, and she flew in from in the north, went into her hometown, and what she's saying is like people are protecting their communities all over, and so people can get around, people can do what they need to do, but the other thing I want to point out very specifically about what's going on the ground, what people realize is that these paramilitary groups are only attacking the poor, the masses in the poor neighborhoods. You notice they're not attacking the banks, they're not attacking the elite areas. No rich people are getting kidnapped. No fires being done in, like, gas stations and grocery stores. So what you see is that the elite is working together with the UN, the US, and this unelected and illegal government to keep the people down, because the whole notion about gangs and so on and so forth, it's the same discourse that the U.S. has been using against Haiti since the early 1900s to justify intervention. And so, but the people, the government will use the term gang to any protest, they'll call them gangs. And so everybody falls into this language. But let's remember how racist and terrible and historically inaccurate that term is. But people are on the ground. They're ready for revolution. And let's remember how the other Haitian revolution happened. And so anything is bound to happen at this point. And my solidarity is with the people on the ground fighting.
And you showed a great picture, by the way, on your social media the other day of Haitian revolutionary folks holding up Palestinian flags and standing with
Exactly.
Palestine despite all of this, which I thought was really, really cool. Well, I appreciate you, as always, Dr. Jemima Pierre from the University of British Columbia, and very importantly, the Black Alliance for Peace, for joining us here on the Freedom Side and helping us sort through it all.
Thanks so much for having me.